Producers and creators are the sources of all value on the planet. MC Laubscher, the host of the top-rated business and investing podcast Cashflow Ninja, is on a mission with Producers Wealth to help producers create, protect, and multiply their wealth outside of Wall Street in any economy by creating systems and processes that help them increase their production, provides them with liquidity, passive income generators, and opportunities for enormous growth. Learn more about their time-tested and proven systems at yourownbankingsystem.com. That's yourownbankingsystem.com.
Welcome to the Cashflow Ninja, the podcast sharing how to create income streams and manage, multiply, and protect your wealth in the new economy. Here is your host inside the dojo, MC Laubscher.
Hello, Cashflow Ninjas. MC Laubscher here, and welcome to another episode of the Cashflow Ninja. I have a great show for you today, and in today's show, we're going to look at how you can expand your business with a ninja sales cycle. My guest in today's episode is Jarrod Glandt. Jarrod is the Vice President of Sales at Cardone Enterprises and co-host Hustlers on GrantCardoneTV. Having learned from Grant Cardone in person, Jarrod is helping over 80 million millennials with challenges of entering the workforce by providing tips and strategies to accelerate growth and increase revenue. A sales expert, Jarrod has helped thousands of individuals and businesses master their pitch. At 21, he got a job selling print and online advertising, the number 2 rep in the country, making $150,000 a year. A millionaire millennial, Jarrod tells others to chase their dreams, to chase opportunity, to get skills, and to keep grinding. He has helped Cardone Enterprises skyrocket sales with exponential growth every year since 2010. For more information on the marketing, sales, and business training that Cardone Enterprises offer through their online platform, Cardone University, you can visit cashflowninja.com/Cardone. That's cashflowninja.com/Cardone. My friend Dave Zook from The Real Asset Investor says you can be conventional or you can be wealthy. Pick one. The Real Asset Investor team creates value for investors looking for high yield returns from multifamily apartments, ATM machines, and self-storage investments. Their syndications offer attractive investment opportunities that produce strong cash flow, equity growth, huge tax incentives. They are truly passive and managed by a world-class team. To learn more about the exciting investment opportunities the Real Asset Investor offers, such as their multifamily, ATM, and self-storage syndications, please visit cashflowninja.com/Real Asset Investor. Jarrod, welcome to the show.
Hey, good to be here, man.
Yeah, can you please share a little bit about your background and journey with my listeners?
Yeah, so I'm the Vice President of Sales for Cardone Enterprises. It's Grant Cardone's company. So our main business is we sell sales training and information to companies from 5 employees to 5,000 on how they can increase sales, be more profitable, eliminate or reduce turnover, keep employees engaged, expand market share, grow their company, really. It's growth information. And so we help companies and organizations as large as Hertz Rent-A-Car, Sprint Wireless, Ashley Furniture, on a large scale. Those are some of the clients, Chrysler, Nissan, Infinity. So got a pretty good business here. More recently, we've been kind of venturing into the consumer space. So going directly to the individual rather than the company, and giving them access to the same content and material that we get 7 figures from the big boys. So I've been working with Grant as we've grown this company from 3 employees to 90, and it's been a hell of a ride.
So where did you originally grow up, and how did you meet Grant? Where did you start? Share a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I grew up in San Diego, and my dad worked in the power sports business, so he ran motorcycle dealerships. So I grew up kind of in that space, and, that kind of naturally dropped me into a sales position when I turned 16 or 17 or however old I was when I started working. So I was always a salesperson that got by with personality because I was outgoing and I was friendly, and I went through some trials in life, ended up making some pretty good money when I was, 21 years old, making almost 200 grand a year, living at home with no bills, and ended up blowing it all, going broke, on unemployment, moved out, smoking dope every day. And got to a point where, I thought for sure there was no way that it was going to turn around for me. And, ended up getting some of Grant's material. My dad actually sent me a link to one of his YouTube videos, and one video turned into 2, turned into 4, turned into 8, watched every video on his YouTube channel, which at the time, if you can imagine, there were only about 30 videos on his YouTube channel. I think today we got almost 5,000.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of how I got started with him. After I watched all those videos, I said I needed to go work for this guy, and called the office every day for a month and a half to get in front of him, and finally got the interview, went up, interviewed at the house, and the rest is history.
Quite a journey so far. What is it, 7 years you've been with him?
We're going on 8 in a couple months. Yeah.
Yeah. So, wow, quite a journey. Now, what have been some of the biggest keys in success? Because obviously this business has been growing and more than 10xing, year over year. So what was some of the biggest drivers and some of the things that you can point at and see because of these couple of things, we're able to do it and increase performance every single year?
Yeah. We have purpose behind what we do. We want to help people. If you can help somebody double their income, if you can help somebody go from 30 grand a year to 120 grand a year, it literally is life changing. If you can help somebody at 100 go to 250, it's life changing. If you can help somebody go from out of college, don't know where to go, don't know what to do, can't find a job, to landing a 6-figure job, it can change people's lives. So we have purpose behind what we do. We want to change people's lives for the better. We want to help them gain control of their ability to produce and have a shot at this thing called financial freedom. Money is important. It's not the most important thing, but it's right up there next to, oxygen. So it's important to get that straight. And, life can throw you enough curveballs, and it can be difficult enough on its own without having to worry about something like where rent or your mortgage or your groceries are going to come from. So, we've been able to grow because we have purpose. Nobody's more connected to that than Grant. He sets unrealistic, unattainable, just like crazy targets, and we just do whatever we can to hit them. So that right there, Grant's ability to push, our commitment to helping people, those are probably the 2 biggest drivers in us in the growth that we've had.
One lesson that I've learned from you guys too is that you mentioned that you started as a B2B and then started rolling it out as a B2C, having that same streams in the same vertical. So by that way, diversifying your business in a sense where you're not only selling directly to businesses, but also direct to clients and consumers. So, it's been very interesting to see that evolving as well and continue to grow and develop.
Yeah. So, we don't ever abandon things either. So our B2B business is stronger today than it's ever been. We've got 25 salespeople in that department. We're expanding our e-commerce team. We went from, 4 employees to probably 22 now in that department. We're limited by space right now. We're trying to get more space in the building we're in. We'll double our square footage. We'll probably add another 80 employees in the next 12 to 18 months. So, there's just a lot of growth and expansion happening around here. And, fortunately we have somebody that continues to push and continues to charge, and, there's no back off from Mr. Cardone. So.
And you touch on expansion, and that's why, I'm excited. I'm super pumped to chat with you today, because sales is such an expansion activity. And for some of my listeners out there might be thinking like, oh, sales. it's impossible to exist on this planet without presenting what you want in life and to be able to negotiate and persuade, right? You won't get anything that you want in life. Everybody does it, by the way, you know, sell or be sold. I have a son that's almost one year old, and I mean, he sold me this morning because he's just relentless. You know, he doesn't stop. So in every area of our life, we do that.
Yeah. And, you know, I think that people, you know, selling it has a bad rap.
Right.
You know, because selling really isn't selling. Selling is listening. It's communicating. It's understanding the beliefs that people have about their ability to or not to do something. It's the ability to satisfy somebody's curiosity about something. It's the ability to give somebody confidence in their ability to make a decision. You know, it gets packaged up into this thing called sales. And I think people, you know, when people think sales, I think that most people in their mind, the vision they get is a person selling a person something that they don't want.
Right. Right.
You know, I think that's when people think about sales, that's what they think of. And it couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, in today's day and age, if somebody doesn't want to hear your sales pitch, they hang up the phone or they close the door or they ask you to leave the office. You know, so like it's changed. And I think that the ability to reach out and connect with people in high volumes, whether via phone or knocking on doors or whatever, I think that's probably one of the most valuable skills that you can pass on to your 1-year-old child or my 7-month-old boy. Like,
yeah,
that's the thing that I want him to be able to do, because if you can go and approach people and communicate with them, you truly can do anything in life. I mean, you know, maybe that won't get you into the operating room as a doctor. But certainly, you know, there are people that make a lot of money in this world that aren't doctors or lawyers or, you know, people with higher education. They're just people that can communicate, you know, and know how to get what they want. And so, you know, it's the most important thing anybody can learn.
Absolutely. And even doctors and lawyers, I mean, they still need clients, right? And to your point, sales and marketing, I talk about high income skill sets. You know, if you study the wealthy and successful people, all of them have this one high income skill set that solves problems for someone or provides an outcome, a desired outcome. And when you think about high income skill sets and the ability to keep expanding your business, I mean, marketing and sales, that's robot proof, right? You're always going to have to find clients, your ideal customers and clients, or people that have a problem that you are able to solve. And again, if that problem that you're solving is big enough, then you have that high income skill set to deliver it to them. And then again, value will flow back into your life. So it's from a sales perspective and looking at it, and you're running just a sales machine. I was just, I just kept looking at this whole operation especially at the 10X Growth Conference. You guys are just super, super impressive. You guys talk about a sales cycle, a business cycle quite a bit. And I think there might be some people that might be even in sales that are even not aware that this is one of the tools or the tricks that professionals use as opposed to amateurs, and having that in place to be able to track and know exactly where you're successful, where you need improvement, and to fine tune it. Can you speak a little bit more to the sales cycle and the business cycle as a whole?
Yeah. So, you know, there are different elements of a business that, I mean, look, at the end of the day, you have to have a product. You have to promote that product, and then you have to transact with that product. I mean, like, regardless of, you know, your accounting team and how you count the money or whatever, like at its most bare bones, you have to have a product to sell. You have to be able to somehow take that out and tell people about it. And then you have to be able to collect money on it. And so for every business, that process is a little different. So, If you're working B2B, your sales cycle means that you're reaching out to somebody and you're initiating a connection. For retail, somebody is coming to you in your facility to transact with something. And so when I think of the sales cycle, the first thing that I think of is where's the customer coming from? Even a customer calling in from an ad that they saw or submitting a lead online, they're initiating and coming to you. And so your process needs to basically take into account the direction of that customer. And that's a lot of times going to be dependent on the business cycle, which is basically the cycle of marketing that feeds into your sales process. And so then within that, wherever the entry point is for that customer, then you have to figure out how to take them from an introduction to becoming a customer. And, we operate off of a basic 5-step process, which is there's some introduction or a greeting, there's some fact finding or discovery, you present your product, you present a proposal, and then step 5 is you ask the customer to do business with you. And so if you can simplify what you're doing into really, I guess, those two things, how are you acquiring the customer's attention? And then how are you going to get them from hello to you're a customer? And then filling in those gaps along the way. You can make that work for any business or any customer. And I think that, people get fooled into thinking that their business is different, or that a sales process won't work for them, or that their customer's different. But at the end of the day, I've seen this work for $20 books. I've seen it work for $200 real estate portfolios on deals Grant's been working on. It works. And if you can, the definition of a system is, something that is predictable. Like a system is a sequence of things that happen in a precise order. And, if you were to look at a conveyor belt and an assembly line, if you put the correct piece in at the beginning and it goes through the assembly line at the end, it comes out as a finished product. The sales process is the same thing. If you put all the right steps in place and you drop a prospect in at the beginning and you do everything right, you have at least a better shot of getting a customer than if you had no process or consistency at all.
You're listening to Jarrod Glandt on the Cashflow Ninja podcast. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
MC Laubscher is the host of the top-rated business and investing podcast, Cashflow Ninja, and also the president of Producers Wealth. Producers Wealth assists people in creating, protecting, and perpetually multiplying wealth in any economy through creating processes that help them increase their production, provide them with liquidity, passive income generators, and opportunities for enormous growth. Learn more about their time-tested and proven systems at yourownbankingsystem.com.
Are you having a hard time finding great investment properties? Unfortunately, the best deals are rarely found locally. Successful investing begins with the right properties in the right markets. Norada Real Estate provides everything you need to invest in the best deals across the United States. Our simple, proven system will help you create real wealth and passive monthly cash flow. Learn how to find the best deals by downloading your free copy of The Ultimate Guide to Passive Real Estate Investing at noradarealestate.com. That's NORADA realestate.com.
You're listening to Jarrod Glandt on the Cashflow Ninja podcast, and I'm back to our interview. And what I really appreciate what you guys do as well, and for the listeners out there, it's a great case study because it's done very strategically, even in content that's put out there, because everyone has an ideal client or customer, right? And the content that you put out there, the objections, or even, first, let me take a step back. First, you find the ideal client by the content that you produce. And then also, we have a marketplace right now that's more educated than ever on products and services, right? People pick up their smartphone, the supercomputer in their hands, they can look up anything and do their research as they're going. Everyone has questions about something. If I'm purchasing a video camera or something, right? There's objections that I have or things that I think of. So the way that you guys tailor and tweak all of that up front in the content and through your marketing also produce that when people come into the quote unquote virtual door, the sales funnel, that all of those things, well, most of it is already addressed up front, which I appreciate how you guys and a lot of what you're doing, as well as kind of turning it upside down as a way that people have traditionally done it through the steps, right? In the end, when they're now, and this is what people didn't like, the hard selling stuff, where if you hit the objections or the questions or concerns or all that stuff up front, now it's a smoother transition and a process. And now the opportunity for value creation and providing a ton of value for that client as they're going through the process is even greater.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, so it's really been something to see. The other thing that I wanted to touch on as well, that you guys talk about a lot, which I figured I'd bring in here, as well as the follow-up, the absolute, the holy grail, as you call it, and something that a lot of folks don't pay attention to, and most sales organizations might not even have something that in place. Can you talk to the importance of the follow-up, and just a little share a little bit about what you guys do around it, because you get very creative.
Yeah. So, no salesperson gets every deal. Not every customer that you prospect, that you come into contact with, is even ready to buy. No matter how good you are, there could be things that are preventing them. No matter what, there's not a way in the world that they can make a decision today. And so a lot of organizations just rely on what we call like the low-hanging fruit, just the deals that come in, you make one follow-up call and then you move on. You rely on one interaction to close the transaction. And depending on the size of the transaction, that decision cycle may vary. But, you have to have a plan in a system. Like, we know that 80% of transactions will take place between the 5th and the 12th follow-up attempt. We know that, right?
Yep.
So what is the plan to get to 8 or 12 attempts? What is the creative variety of reach that you will use to stand out and not become annoying and a pest? So, we talk about all the different tools you can use. Video, you can use text, you can use gimmicks and gifts and handwritten letters and personal visits and social media reaches and, articles and links and blogs. I mean, there's so many ways that you can be creative to stay in front of somebody. But the biggest mistake that people make is they underestimate how many times it's going to take to actually get somebody to, if they don't convert when they're with you, how long it's going to take to get them back. Because when they leave, they go home and they've got wife and kids and car accident and problem at work and karate classes and church and groceries and dry cleaning and clogged toilet. And, they go back into their life and they get problems. And so you have to compete with all of those things, not just the competition in the marketplace. If God forbid they went to another company that offers what you do, but like, what about just all the personal stuff that you deal with in life? What are you going to do to stay out in front of that? And so follow-up is really, it's such a vital element for any organization. If we just took the dead leads that people dropped in any organization, that's typically where we can get immediate lift, is just go through, scrape a bunch of old leads and just start following up with them. That's where we can, usually get a 20 to 25% uptick in business.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I want to transition quickly to another topic of and talk about specifically what you guys have brought to the table too. I mean, this is an online training system, something that is quite remarkable and incredible, with I don't know how many hours of footage and contents on there. It's just it's quite ridiculous.
Almost 300 hours.
It's quite amazing. And the system that you guys have created this is training that's accessible on smartphones, tablets, computers, anywhere and everywhere. And someone might be thinking, sales training as well, where they don't really understand, or maybe they're not cognizant of that. There's a ton of industry specific training done within your business. Maybe you're doing that, or you're doing that in the company that you're in. There's also product knowledge training, very specific, but the overall holistic sales stuff is what you guys cover and get into. Can you share a little bit more about Cardone University? You've mentioned what's over 300 hours. It's quite remarkable.
Yeah, well, so the first question is, do you want to make more money, or do you think your company is capable of producing more? If you can answer yes to that question, then the next question is, if you can make more, why aren't you? And, you can make a bunch of excuses about why this or why that, or, different programs to add, but I can go into any company without spending any more money on marketing or adding a new widget or anything like that, and just saying with their people, here's a few things that you can do to improve your ability to get a deal. And then we can have an impact on a company. So we've talked about some things like follow-up and, objection handling, or, the sales process. And, these are all integral elements of a business, but they're elements that typically business owners hardly put any time or attention into developing, because they get caught up with their product and running their business and all the problems that they have. And so what we set out to do is create a system where manageably, right, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, you could come in and you could get targeted training, not just on your industry or your product, but the theory behind why you're actually doing something. If you don't know why you're doing something, you won't ever understand how to do it. And so what we do is we kind of marry those two concepts together. We cover the theory of training, and then we cover the actual tactical how-to. And Grant's been doing this for 35 years. We packaged all of his best stuff up into the platform and made it. First, we built the platform out for companies. So full tracking, reporting, and accountability. Most organizations today track every metric and every KPI you can imagine. But the one thing that contributes to the production of those metrics is ability, is an employee's ability to do their job, a salesperson's ability to do their job. And if you ask people, what are they doing to measure those abilities or those KPIs or those metrics, they don't have an answer. So the one thing that contributes the most to the ability to make calls, convert deals, set appointments, follow up with customers, close deals, get referrals, the one thing that contributes to all that, most businesses don't measure. So we added a layer of accountability and reporting into the program so that we would have the ability not only to educate, but to track and report and monitor, so that we could actually make corrections in areas of deficiency and basically give people coaching when and where they need it. Different people have different strengths and weaknesses, and our program was designed to give the user a more one-to-one experience where they could get access to the information they want when they need it, and we have full reporting and accountability to track it.
This is also for listeners out there, this is an opportunity to take yourself to a professional level and train just like professionals train. We always talk about how professional athletes train, and we marvel at, professional golfers, for instance, but we don't think or in that time, in that place or moment, that the amount of hours that goes into that by the time they stand on that tee box and take that shot, the amount of practice and tee times, and driving range time that they spend in there. This is the same way to take your business to the next level, whether it's a real estate business, whether it's just a traditional business in whatever space you're in, whether you're a chiropractor, a doctor, and so forth, and it's on demand. I shared my story in the intro, but it's something that I use every single time to still tweak my processes in my business to go back and see, where am I missing something? Why am I doing this? And am I not doing that correctly? Right.
Yeah. So too many people back off. Too many people get to, and I see this happening when people get into their late 30s through kind of their 40s and into their early 50s, where they reach a point in their career where they feel like they've kind of learned everything they can learn, and then they stall out. Right. And so they go through this period of 10 or 12 years where there's really not a whole lot of growth or development in their ability And they can kind of, they can get bored. And then, we'll have people, I have a guy that was sitting in our office the other day. He's 54 years old, and he came across Grant's material. He's like, dude, this is the wake-up call I've been waiting for. I've been on cruise control the last 10 years in my business and career. I've been apathetic. I've hated it. I've hated my job. I've hated my life, because I backed off, and there was no game and there was no growth, and I wasn't really committed. And, Grant woke me up. And so, when you can kind of have that transformation in people, it's pretty magical.
No, absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. Now, Jarrod, a core message in our show is to leave our families, communities, and the world better than we found it by passing down a mindset, values, and principles to future generations, not just money. So if you cannot pass on any money to future generations, and we're only allowed to pass on 3 principles to them to build wealth and achieve happiness and success, what would they be?
Number 1 would be to learn how to cold call, master it, become great at it. Because if you can do that, then you can get in front of anybody. Number 2 would be set unrealistic goals that you never think you could hit, but don't let the size of the goal overwhelm you to the point that you stop reaching for it, right? It's got to be big. It's got to be massive. It's got to be stupid, because if you take action based on that stupid, ridiculous target, then you actually have a shot at hitting it.
Right.
And then the third thing would really just be, contribute to your environment, give back to people. Giving back to people could just be being a positive person. But you should be the person that people admire, whether it's for your work ethic, because they can learn from that, because it's your attitude, because they can feel that and it can influence them, but give back to people in whatever form that ends up being. There should be some contribution back to, the public.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. Jarrod, appreciate you connecting again, buddy. And thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your journey and your knowledge and providing so much value for my listeners. Where can folks reach out to you, follow you on Twitter, and where can they get information and get in touch?
Yeah, so I'm most active on Twitter and Instagram. So I answer, I don't post a whole lot, but I always answer people and respond to them when they DM me or ask questions or anything like that. So you can find me on both places, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, actually, as at Jarrod Glandt. That's JarrodGlandt.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, buddy. I appreciate you. Life settlement investments have allowed financial and banking institutions to not only buy their equity contractually, but also diversify their capital from any economic, market, and geopolitical risk. It's been part of the billion-dollar blueprint followed by institutional investors. And if you're an accredited investor, you can also now participate in this vehicle with enormous growth potential. You can watch an informational webinar presented by one of the premier organizations providing life settlement investments, Penumbra Solutions, at cashflowninja.com/life settlements. Thank you for joining me again on the Cashflow Ninja. Thank you for all your support. You rock. If you like what you hear and appreciate what we're trying to build here at the Cashflow Ninja, please subscribe, rate, and review our show on iTunes and share our show with family, friends, and your network. If you're not a subscriber to our newsletter, you can sign up for our newsletter at cashflowninja.com or text Cashflow Ninja to 44222. I'm also posting daily videos on Facebook and YouTube and will live stream weekly starting May 2018. To make sure you don't miss any of the live streams, please like and subscribe to my Facebook and YouTube platforms. I'm also dropping content on Instagram daily. Be sure to follow us on Instagram to get in on the action. I want to thank you for spending your most precious resource with me today, your time. That's our show for today. Until next time, live a life of passion and purpose on your terms. This presentation is for educational and informational purposes only. The information being presented and considered does not consider your particular financial objectives or situation, and it does not make personalized recommendations. This material is not intended to replace the advice of a qualified tax and legal advisor or other qualified professionals, and you should not use the information in place of a customized consultation with a licensed professional regarding your specific personal financial objectives, situation, and needs. We believe the information provided is reliable, but we do not guarantee its accuracy, timeliness, or completeness.